Oh, you all are so patient. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is my cousin Jennifer Heath. I'm Dr. Barbara Eaton. We're super excited to have you. Sorry for our technical difficulties the other day. And even today, we both joined on. And then if you don't activate your broadcast in a few short minutes, then it just deletes it. So we're apologizing for being a few minutes late. But at any rate, we're super excited to talk about Lyme disease today. The reason I asked Jennifer to join me is that she has had quite the battle with health issues that were finally diagnosed as Lyme disease, and has just been on literally a worldwide tour to figure out what is the cause of this, how do we beat it, what can I do for myself. I will tell you that Jennifer has always focused on being healthy. We had the privilege of Jennifer living with us when I was a child in high school. So this isn't something that in my 40s, I decided to get healthy. Jennifer has always looked this beautiful and radiant. You'd never guess that she's 75. No. But she does look way younger than her years, that's for sure. And that's because she has been committed to being healthy. I know that you have some special offers for viewers today, so let's do those right away. And Hope is already tagging people in our thread. So right on, Hope, we love that. So anyone that you know that may be struggling with Lyme disease and or has is just getting diagnoses that aren't consistent with or they're not getting better despite their diagnosis, please tag them so they can watch this broadcast. So Jen, let's start by telling what is the special offer you have for our audience today?
All right. Well, thank you first, and thank you so much for having me on your Facebook Live today. So I greatly appreciate it. And I just greatly appreciate you. Also, the experience and the time living with you, your family, and what a blessing that is to me. So I just want to thank you for that. So moving on to my book, Overcoming Lyme Disease. So today what I'm offering is anybody that chimes in and asks questions, I'm going to give away 2 books for those people. And then also we're going to pay it forward. So if you share this broadcast in the next, up until Labor Day, Monday, I will also, and tag me in it, Jennifer Heath, I will also be giving away 5 copies of signed and mailing it to you personally from me. Okay?
So what about, can we also offer, since Hope was the first person that tagged somebody, can we send her a copy of your book too?
Sure.
Yay. All right. So listen, so those are the rules. I'll post them here as well. So then how they get their free copy, Jen, is you'll look at their name, you'll Facebook message them in order to get their mailing address. So that also means please make sure that you're checking, when you go to check your messages, if you're friends with somebody, those automatically come up. But if you don't go up to the top where it says new messages or requested messages, you won't see it's coming from Jen if you guys aren't friends. So just be watching for that, because we are women of our word, and she will for sure get in touch with you to send those. So awesome. Charity is already tagging somebody too. Good job, Dr. Charity. Congratulations being new in practice. This is going to be invaluable information. Hi, Dr. Karen. Love and miss you too. Thanks for joining us. So Jen, let's just start right at the top, kind of where we started from the other day. Let's talk about your journey. What happened?
All right. Well, unfortunately, my journey, there's like 20 some pages I have in my book that will give you my journey, because it's way too long to explain here. And also on my blog, Overcoming Lyme Disease, I have my story. So that's in a nutshell, or a little bit longer, but in a nutshell, I've been misdiagnosed for a long time with being misdiagnosed with multiple different diseases and different things wrong with me, but the culprit was Lyme disease.
Okay, and so let's go back to, it started with, and one, I was thinking about this last night, I don't even know why, the whole root canal thing. So that's how this whole thing kind of started, right? So can we go back to there?
All right. Well, number one, so Lyme disease is a spirochete disease. Unlike what the CDC and the American Lyme Disease Foundation is spinning to the world that it's a bacterial infection, but it's not. It's actually its own phylum. It's a parasitic spirochete that sheds its outer surface protein, which is fungal antigens, when your immune system goes after it. So that's why it's really relapsing fever, because then it becomes a whole new antigen in your body. But the damage is done with the fungal antigens which it sheds. So humans cannot be injected with bathroom scum, and that's what basically it is a fungal antigen. So which will permanently shut down your B cells and mutate them. So it's a B cells type AIDS. And then, which then the synergy of like Epstein-Barr viruses and different viruses and co-infections that we have can run rampant on our immune system because we no longer can respond. It's called cross tolerance. So we don't even know, but really the disease is usually it's seronegative. So what the CDC criminals did in 1994 when they changed the case definition and also fraudulently changed the testing, they added the Lyme test. The Lisa test to it, which will actually then only 15% of the population actually have an antibody response to. So 85% of our population will not be tested positive for Lyme disease because of this crime. And then the next thing is then they do a Western blot test, which they check for more IgG bands. But unfortunately, they know, even Yale University, the reason why they changed the case definition and also the testing was because they had a fake LymeRx vaccine that they were marketing to the world, saying that it would help with Lyme disease when it was actually causing LymeRx disease, a neurological outcome, which Lyme disease does have. So that's in a nutshell, that's why people can't get tested. But really, Yale University that owned the patent for the fake LymeRx vaccine, they also own the patent for really the only FDA should be used validation test for Lyme disease, which is 41-KD flagellin, which shows up right away when you are infected. So it's a DNA, it's flagellin, it's its own phylum, so it will show up. And then what you have to do is rule out syphilis, because syphilis is another spirochete disease. But also, so getting back to the mouth, doctors, dentists know about periodontal disease. That's a spirochete diseases. And so it starts with a T. I can't think of the name, but it's in my book, the other spirochete that lives in the mouth there. But unfortunately, when you have root canals or if you have cavitations where they actually remove your wisdom teeth, a lot of people get dry sockets, which is like cavitations there. And these bugs love to fester in there because, they can hide from the immune system or they mess with you. So looking into the oral is very important for anybody in their health issues, no matter if you have Lyme disease or not. So that's a little bit in a nutshell. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. So that was a lot. That's for sure. And I'm so glad that you're incredibly knowledgeable. So let's just back up to a couple of things. The only FDA approved test to say for sure that you have Lyme disease, what is that again?
Well, there was Alan Steer, they even talked about it. It was 41-KD flagellin, and Yale owned the patent on it. It's patent. I have it in my book. I can write it down later, or if somebody that is knowledgeable that knows this patent, if you could put it in the comments for me right now. But there's actually a patent that was done by Yale that actually would prove that you had Lyme disease right away. But they're not using that testing because they were trying to sell their fake LymeRx vaccine, which right now they're trying to sell a new Lyme vaccine that will give you that they're going to be injecting fungal antigens into people and making them deathly ill. So isn't that cool?
That sounds like pretty typical for the CDC, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So do I have that right? 41-KD flagellin, the only approved FDA test for Lyme.
That's the only one that should be used. Yeah. Had the patent on that. Yeah, but they weren't using it. They were using their bogus Alicia, the 2-tier testing that is in place right now. And even the CDC recently came out and admitted that their testing is not accurate. So excellent. That's where we stand. Mm-hmm.
So Jen, let's talk about it. I guess I'm especially concerned about this because Micah had to have her wisdom teeth pulled. So then what does a person do? So let's first talk about somebody who's going to go in for dental stuff. So you went in for a root canal, and then what happened is they opened up your jaw, And then, hi, Katie from the Twin Cities, fellow Lyme survivor right there. Yay, glad you're joining us. So then what happened is you started with an oral infection, right? So let's talk about what does someone need to do to protect themselves if they're going to go in for oral surgery? And then number two, if they've had oral surgery, what should they do now? So let's start with if you're going in for oral surgery.
Well, number one, you want to find somebody a biological dentist that knows about the meridian, how each tooth is to different body parts. And so what you're doing in here affects different body parts as well. So you want a knowledgeable biological dentist that knows about the correlation between health and the mouth. And the biggest thing is root canals. They should never be allowed. They have shown there's a test out there that shows a study that showed 97% of women with breast cancer had root canals, because this is the only surgery where you keep a dead body part and you put it back in the body, and there's no way that they can keep infection from happening, and that's the problem with root canals. And now with our new studies, we have great lasers now that they can actually see. With that, as our technology advances and we can see more and more, we can prove that they are not safe like they once were talked about. So I would suggest not having a root canal, especially in the light of Lyme disease, because there's no way that because you are now immune suppressed. So anytime, don't give these critters a place to hang out and live without your body being able to address it.
So then based on your, and just for all of you, I am not claiming to be a specialist. I am just doing an interview. Jen doesn't claim to be a specialist. All she's doing is saying, from my research, from the people I've talked to, from my own experience, right, I am sharing my testimonial. So we're not claiming to be experts. No way, no how. Everything that we're saying, please, please, please check out for yourself. We're simply sounding the alarm of stop and think before you act.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go back and let's just tell me again, based on what you have read, you didn't do the research, you're not the researcher, you didn't pay for the research, blah, all the disclaimers that need to go along with this. Based on what you've read, what are the connections between root canals and breast cancer?
There's a huge correlation between breast cancer and also root canals, is because you put a dead body part in there. And so usually it's like the second, so there's a thing called meridians where different teeth go to different body parts. And so usually it's like the second molar or something back here where it drains into the breast. And so that's the reason why there's a correlation. So infection is draining into there. And there's actually studies. I talked to a pathologist from the U of M recently, and he was telling me that they are researching cancer tumors. And what they have to put it is on when they find that the Epstein-Barr virus is being mixed with the human host DNA in these cancer, is that they have to put under unnecessary findings. They weren't looking for that, but it's actually showing that Epstein-Barr virus, which is, a big thing that holistic doctors have been saying for a long time is cancer causing. So, there's a synergy that's going on here. So, did I answer your question? Sorry.
Yeah, and Jen, I know yesterday we talked about that there are several diseases that are commonly misdiagnosed that are actually Lyme. Based on your study and reading other people, what are those other diseases that can commonly mimic Lyme and people are just not usually diagnosed appropriately?
Well, one big one is MS, and actually the NIH used to have, National Institute of Health, our government used to actually have a Lyme and MS division, which they got rid of because they were, selling their bogus vaccine. So anyways, but so MS, you have fibromyalgia, you have Alzheimer's, you have dementia, you have cancer, you have any disease. ALS is a big one, Lou Gehrig's disease, Lyme disease, spirochete diseases. So this is why this disease has to start getting recognized, and the testing has to be updated, and because people should know what they actually have, because this disease, again, is a spirochete that sheds fungal antigens that creates a B cell type AIDS to the body. So that way latent viruses, that's where these co-infections, these MS and all these other diseases are, is coming from these co-infections, because the immune system is shut down, and now Epstein-Barr virus and anything else that goes right along with it is now taking over the body, and the body can't fight it. And so that's why everybody's symptoms will be different. It's always changing. That's why doctors start to think that you're crazy, because you come in with one symptom and the next week you have this other symptom and they can't figure it out. So then they just do more testing that shows nothing, or they might diagnose you with other diseases, which I am so grateful. I was diagnosed with a lot of different diseases. So I didn't think I was nuts. They were just trying to figure out what's wrong with me,
Well, we all know you're a little bit nuts, but you are a Heath. It just comes with the gene pool.
Exactly.
All right. So
I love it.
So let's talk about, so what is a spirochete? And once again, just for all of you who are going to flip out, not saying that Jen is a doctor. She's just simply sharing what she has researched. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am a doctor. I am just doing the interview and asking questions. So for all you crazies out there that want to turn this into something it's not, on you. We're simply doing a public service help and announcement. And want to help out because we care about people. And sorry to say, I don't trust big pharma at all. And I do believe that they're out to get us. So it's all about the money. And we're all about you and your family and your health and your well-being and continuing to live a great life. All right, so let's talk about, what does a spirochete disease mean?
A spirochete is, that is like Lyme or syphilis, is a spirochete. So it's a parasite like spirochete. It's its own phylum. And spirochetes actually shed fungal antigens. So the Lyme spirochete, the Borreliose, it sheds its outer surface protein, which is a fungal antigen like bathroom scum. And so that's why there's no possible way that these criminals at the CDC can possibly make a vaccine against this, because it will keep changing its antigen, its outer surface protein. So it becomes a new antigen in the body. And that's why people like me, I'm fortunate that I actually have the hypersensitivity 5% that showed up on Alicia as being tested high. And so my IgM was like 9 bands positive. That means my body kept trying to fight this thing, and it kept changing its outer surface protein and becoming a whole new antigen in my body. So that's the difference. That's what a spirochete does. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Kind of. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot more reading to do. So let's talk about.
It's a great place to start, by the way, overcoming disease.
So let's talk about your book, Jen. What will somebody glean from reading your book? Like, I know you had a huge team of healthcare providers that, but it kind of started, you did do the medical route a little bit and got worse and worse and worse and worse. Let's talk about that and then lead into your book.
Medical Western medicine for a year and a half, and it almost killed me, and I was left for dead. And basically left for dead. I was bedridden at that point after 2 weeks of oral antibiotics, and I was told that I was now cured. And I was totally left for dead. I know. I was really cool. I threw it for 9 days straight, and I was cured, and it was like so awesome. I couldn't even swallow my own spit. Anything that I could eat or drink, it would just keep coming up. I was so deathly ill. So, and yeah, my story, you can read about it. It was a nightmare, but yeah, I had 4 surgeries. I was diagnosed with needing to have a hysterectomy, and I sent my blood work to my holistic doctor, Dr. Easterling, and he's like, Jennifer, you have an infection and you're also anemic, and and before the surgery. So the doctors were like, no, you're fine. And of course I ended up almost sepsis hematoma 9 days after my surgery, which threw me in the ER and under every strong IV antibiotic under the sun. And also then a surgery that I had to do where they had to go in and actually drain the blood out of me. And they had to put a drainage tube in me for 4 days in the hospital, which is when my my intestines decided to stop working because, you know what, they don't like sitting in infected blood for some reason. Oh no. So yeah, so this is what we're dealing with. It's
holy
pretty
cow.
scary.
At least
Western
you were
medicine.
cured.
What?
At least you were cured.
Oh yeah, I was cured. I was cured. I love that 2 weeks of antibiotics because I was so cured.
Thank you for restoring me to normal health and well-being. I can't say thanks enough. Okay, so then how did you finally like break out of that? So here you are, 4 surgeries, all these antibiotics, you're told you're cured. What happened? Like what changed? Where did you go? How did you start this journey so that others can start investigating that?
Well, what happened was I called Dr. Easterling after I was told 5 weeks or 5 days after throwing up nonstop and told to go back to the University of Michigan ER, who they told me that they don't diagnose nor treat Lyme disease in the ER, so it was really futile. And the people that did had a 3 months waiting list, so I had no place to go. So Dr. Easterling found the Bourne Clinic in Grand Rapids, and so I made an appointment, and I ended up having to drive myself there, and I got the much needed IV nutrition, and also they did the IGNX test on me the few days later, and it showed that I was CDC positive and also IGNX positive. So that's where my journey began. And so I was going to go there. And then I also made an appointment with, there's a doctor here in Michigan that does IV antibiotics. And so I made an appointment to see him. And Dr. Easterling kept saying, Jennifer, no, on the IV antibiotics. And so I found Dr. Nebling up in Lansing. And I went in and saw him. And he was the one, too, that said, like, all right, I have infection going on in my jawbone. And we started ultraviolet blood irrigation, which with this disease, unfortunately, you have to do IV treatments. But, you know, the better treatments are like ozone, vitamin C with ozone push, ultraviolet blood irrigation, things like that, because you are dealing with something that's in your blood. And so you got to go big time with this. Treat it like cancer. And that's how I always tell everybody I treated Lyme like cancer, but without the cancer causing drugs. I didn't cut, burn, or radiate myself to get better. Instead, I did holistic, God-given things that you can do that don't harm your body, but boost your immune system. And so that's what I recommend doing.
And so along the way too, your chiropractor was really instrumental in helping you, right?
Yes. Chiropractors are amazing. And everybody, like I say, it takes a village. And so I think everybody should have a chiropractor. But
that doesn't mean you're a Hillary supporter, right?
No. I didn't mean it like that. I know.
Because I'd be like, end broadcast.
Yeah, end broadcast. No, I'm not Hillary supporters.
All right. So
like women.
So, yeah, that's funny. That's why we support Trump, because he believes in women. All right. So Dr. Karen asked this. I have a lot of patients with Lyme, and many of them have contracted the disease from other biting insects, whether spiders, mosquitoes, and not just from deer ticks. I have also seen the symptoms spread through an entire household. So being that it's like syphilis, a spirochete, it seems to be communicable. Have you seen this phenomenon in your investigative efforts?
Well, yeah, there has been that going on. Now, you can't call it an STD because there's no science, they haven't been examining that, but it's just really bizarre that syphilis can be, and why can't this be? But so there you go. But there are studies being done right now to see, but right now the CDC says no.
So what advice do you have? I mean, individuals are tagging others. What advice do you have for somebody who is maybe in the throes of this disease? This is going to show my ignorance, which is totally fine. Is Lyme disease kind of like, whether it's malaria or other diseases where they don't really ever leave, they just go into a state of dormancy? Is Lyme the same way?
Yeah, Lyme, well, the mechanism that causes really Lyme or Lyme-Rex disease happens within the first 20 feet, the spirochete, which then we still have to address. already has done its damage. Okay, it sheds its outer surface protein and it goes right for the B cell. It goes in the lymphatic and starts going after that. That's why, you know, this is something where we have to treat it like cancer, because it sort of causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma where it's lymphatics. And that's why people's are always different, everything that they're doing. But Babesia is malaria. That's one of my co-infections. And yeah, it hangs out in the red blood cells. Very hard to get rid of.
So then what advice, where do you recommend someone starts? I mean, obviously first get your book. Yeah. And where does someone start? Like if someone who's watching this knows somebody who's struggling, where do they start?
Excellent question. Unfortunately, until the CDC, the Lyme crime gets prosecuted, you know, even if you went to your doctor and asked for a Lyme test, you're not going to be shown that you have Lyme disease. And even if you were tested positive, they're going to give you 2 weeks of antibiotics and now pronounce you cured. And anything that you have now is post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome. Can you believe they can sell that over to people? But they are. And so, anyways, so that's the problem that we're having, and that's why my conclusion is that we need to get rid of our sick care system, because my book basically debunks our sick care system, and it isn't just for Lyme disease, it's for everything. And we need a healthcare system that actually pays for. They're happy to pay for chiropractors, you know, the quacks out there, which by the way, I love my quacks. And so that's going to be, I think we got to, you know, get Quack Watch back and change it. Like, I love my quack. So you know what? I love to see people post, I love my quack, because they're not, know something that can help you.
Yeah.
So I think,
yeah,
you know, preaching, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah. So it's really hard for me to tell you where to go, because, you know, again, I would say get my book and do a little reading and research on it, but I would look into doctors that do oxygen treatments and, you know, enzymes. You know, I think enzymes are huge, and I talk about enzymes in my book, and Dr. Loomis has an amazing enzyme line called Therazymes, and I think chiropractors, you know, and any holistic profession should look into that, because he has the Enzyme Institute where they actually educate people on the body and all that. But then his enzymes that he took from Dr. Howard, who actually discovered enzymes, and he helped make these even better. So I would look into definitely start taking enzymes for yourself. And again, look into Dr. Loomis Therazymes.
So then on this thread too, Jen, maybe we can also list like some links and websites of where to begin. I mean, clearly if someone just goes online and types in like oxygen doctor in my area, I have to believe if something is good, there probably are already people who are trying to take advantage of limited knowledge. And so then, you know, it's not the oxygen bar you know, like, no, it's not putting you up to the oxygen bar at the airport. No. That's not what we're talking about, right?
No, that isn't what we're talking about. It's with a DO, so a DO or an MD that can do this. So it's not an oxygen bar.
Okay. I just want to be clear, because, you know, that could definitely come up. All right. So let's talk about the other. What are some symptoms that are common, or even that you were experiencing before you knew what this diagnosis was?
Well, I'll tell you what, like brain fog, a hard time concentrating. Like growing up, I for a long time actually, so unable, you know, to concentrate in school, falling asleep, tired. Let's see, flu-like symptoms, headaches. You know, headaches is a big thing, and then eventually migraines. Like I used to get migraines so bad. You know, stomach issues, you know, it totally affects the gut. And that is a big thing that I talk about in my holistic journey I've been on for 30 plus years. And I talk about in my book about deep tissue cleansing, the Jensen stuff. And the reason why too I love enzymes is because 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So we really need to pay attention what we're putting in, and also our skin. So what we put on our skin, if we're putting toxins on our skin, because whatever we put on our skin is our largest organ and our third kidney. So, that's so important as well. So there's so many things to look at. And my book, I actually wrote 2 books. I have the Life Healing Handbook that you get for free when you get my book, and then you go to my website and you get to download it for free, which is amazing. Things that you can do from home. So, Gerson therapy, which is one of the best trusted therapies in the world, they call for coffee enemas and juicing. Okay. And so this is what I did for this disease, is to get my body working again as I detox. But I did a deep tissue cleanse, a Bernard Jensen type cleanse. And I talk about that in my book. So, and I also have resources at the back of my book, and I also have resources on my website, Overcoming Lyme Disease. But unfortunately, Dr. Loomis, the Enzyme Institute, I don't have that on there because they just had to recategorize their, make it institute, and then also their enzymes, they separated it. So, the FDA was going after them because they actually have things that actually work for you. So they don't like that. So I would
like chiropractic. You'll get better.
You don't want to get better.
So my buddy Smitty asked, what is your website, or how should people get in touch with you?
Okay. Well, my website is I don't know if you can see that, but overcomingLymeDisease.com or info at Overcoming Lyme Disease is my website or my email.
Overcomingly. Just to add an adverb. Overcoming Lyme. Oh, it does look like overcomingly.
Lyme disease.
Overcoming Lyme disease.com.
Yeah. Or info at Overcoming Lyme Disease to email me for information. You can email me at Overcoming Lyme Disease.
Okay. And so let's go back to the cleanse and the juicing and, yes, Smitty, overcomingLymeDisease.com. Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
Let's go back. So someone's watching this and they're like, oh, I'll just start by doing that. I'll start by doing juicing, which you can, there's all kinds of, just be careful if you're going to juice, don't juice conventional produce.
No, organic. You got to go organic. Yeah. Follow what I do in my book or my modeling. That'll give you some good insight.
So if all of a sudden you start putting all kinds of conventional produce in your body, I promise you're going to be more toxic than if not. And I'm going to follow this up with a Facebook Live with my brother and Kirsten about the difference between organic and conventional and heirloom as well. They have a Beyond Organic Happy Chicken Farm, and we're going to talk about the importance of the food that you eat. Like, just because you go to Whole Foods doesn't mean it's all good for you. I hate to break it to you, but like, there's still a business. So all right. So then somebody says, oh, well, I'll just start juicing and doing a cleanse. And so they go online and they Google cleanse and they just buy some random cleanse. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know what cleanse they're buying and I don't know what they're doing. So I think anything, if you do organic, I don't think there's anything that you could actually cause more toxins to you. If you're taking God-given stuff that has enzymes in it and the nutrition that it has, and that's why juicing is so important, doing organic juicing. And when you also juice, you want to make sure you chew. So you chew even though it's, but you want to chew because that creates enzymes going, your body's natural enzymes, which will help with the digestion. Because the number one thing that your body needs to do as soon as you eat, it'll rob all the enzymes from any body part to digest food. And that's why we need to make sure we're taking enzymes with our food. And getting back to God-given foods that have enzymes in it. So doing, anybody that's doing a cleanse or whatever, I think awesome. As long as you're not putting, chemicals in them, but you also need somebody that's going to guide you and walk you through.
Yes.
or a resource in which I'm hoping that my Life Healing Handbook will give some, leeway and ideas for people to do. But, of course, always consult somebody that's a holistic doctor when you do any type of program, or because, you need some knowledge behind that. So.
And Jen, your Life Healing Handbook is at your website?
Yeah, it's my website is Overcoming Lyme Disease. But once you get my book, there's a form in there that you could click on. It'll take you right to the Life Healing Handbook that you get for free. So really, you get 2 books for the price of 1. And now
they can order your book through the website.
Yeah, I have a link to Amazon, and right now Amazon is running my book for only $9.80, and it will be up to $20. So just make sure, if you're going to get it, get the paperback now while they're still using they're promoting my book, I guess. And then also my Kindle version is $5.99 right now, so you can download the Kindle version. But then again, you get both books. So once you download my book or buy my book on my website, that will give you the PDF for my book. Over Life Healing Handbook.
Nice. All right. So Smitty has another question. Just a second. Let me put this up.
Okay.
Which enzymes, from Loomis do you use? Is that
okay?
I assume that's in your book?
No, I can't. I didn't talk about it. I had to, on the 9th hour, take everything out of Loomis because of the Food and Death Administration going after them. So we didn't want to highlight them in any way. So anyway,
I gotcha.
Okay. So right now I use a PAN, PAN, which is good for protein, and it's good for your pancreas and for, sugars and all of that. So there's different enzymes, so different formulas, what he puts in there. So I don't have a bottle. I'm at my friend's house, but I use the PAN, and I use one that's BIL. Before I talked, I actually took the CLM, which is, it's calm. It helps calm down your nerves and has great health. You don't need to take those pharmaceutical drugs that cause constipation and mess up your system. You can actually take God-given, amazing stuff that will help calm you down. So, yeah, and there's the TRMA that they have, which is amazing. It's good for cancer and AIDS. That's what this disease is similar to. And muscular, they have so many different things. So, but you need somebody that is trained in Loomis things. So if you go to Enzyme Institute and you look for chiropractors trained, or physicians trained in it, I highly suggest that. And I highly suggest any of your chiropractors watching this right now is to investigate and look into Dr. Loomis Enzymes. I think they'll be very happy. He has an FDA, his 24-hour urine analysis test is FDA validated, believe it or not. And that's why they separated it. And it's incredible. It will show you everything that's going on in your body better than any blood work. So I highly suggest, if you are a practitioner, to look into Dr. Loomis Enzymes. And no, I do not get paid for this. I don't make any money off of it. It works.
That's right. And I think I have that right? Loomis Enzyme Institute?
Yeah, I think it's under Loomis Enzyme Institute, but just Howard Loomis, if you start Googling all of that, you'll find, look for him.
Okay. I remember when I was at Logan that, I don't know, I just remember the Loomis Institute when I was at Logan. I don't honestly even know that much about enzymes, but I'm going to learn a lot more about them because I think it's really important. So they have a referral network at Loomis Enzyme whereby you can find a healthcare professional who will walk you through and help you with this stuff. All right. So last minute or final words that you'd like to say, or anyone, if you have a question that you want to pop in here super quick, we'd be happy to answer it for you. I just want to make sure. Oh, so somebody else asked, oxygen hyperbaric treatment. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, those are good, but you want to get into the blood. So you definitely want to have a DO or an MD that does oxygen therapies like ultraviolet blood irrigation. I talk about it in my book. IV vitamin C with ozone push. There's different things that you can do that they use for cancer.
Isn't that amazing? So I wonder if they'll eventually come out and say that it's one and the same. I mean, there's so many new things obviously being discovered about cancer, obviously inflammatory. Cancer loves sugar. So if you're concerned about that.
This bug loves sugar. That's why doing a gluten-free, dairy-free, and cutting back on your sugar intake is huge, because you're just feeding all the bugs,
Yeah.
Do away with sugar.
Hey, Jen, let me ask you this. In your research, because she's not an expert, she's just informed, just like me, we're informed. What do they say? What do the experts say? Like, how long does this usually lay in your body? Latent. So that's number one, latency. And then number two, do all people who have Lyme disease, does it start with the bullseye rash?
Okay. So this disease, it can go into, like, you don't know it when you start fighting it, it could go into cyst form, because that's another form it goes into. So then it hides the immune. So it has 3 different forms, and it can go into any body part. It has a corkscrew, and it can go into anything. So nothing, once you get this in you, it can just take time. And then you have your co-infections. Again, like I said, it's a synergy. So it depends on your Epstein-Barr viruses and different things like that, and your immune system. So I think that's why I'm into holistic health. I believe in enzymes, and I take care of my body. I treat this daily like cancer. So if I had cancer, I eat like I had cancer, and this is how I would be taking care of it. So, and that's why enzymes, and I do bioidentical hormones, because they threw me into medical menopause. And so there's so many different things. Did that help? Do they answer that? And then
so it can lay in your body for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And just kind of throw off small symptoms.
Yeah, like, you have headaches, belly aches, you have fevers, I mean, it just depends. Everybody's different. That's why we need the 41 kD flagellin test to show people they have actually a spirochete, a flagellin in them.
I gotcha. And so I think my other question was, do all people who have Lyme disease, did it start with a bullseye rash? I just remember, in chiro school, it was bullseye rash, Lyme disease, no bullseye rash, no Lyme disease. And obviously the research has come a long ways. So tell me about Lyme disease and bullseye rash based on what you've read, because you're not an expert, nor am I. Okay, there we go.
Even the CDC gets a bullseye rash. So it's just a myth. I mean, not everybody gets it. So don't go by that. Go by your symptoms. And I have a Lyme symptom checklist by Dr. Chris is another leading Lyme literate doctors in my book. He wrote my foreword. But yeah, so it isn't, bullseye's rash. If they're looking for that, they're missing a lot of people.
So I just want to read Diane's. So, Diane is our people, right? She grew up on Crow, just on the other side of the tracks.
Okay.
Diane Dotson, and she graduated a year ahead of me, and her sister Alicia and I were buddies all throughout growing up. So went to Jones School, and Diane is related to the Dykes, Barb Dyke, Sandy Dyke, Connie Dyke, all the Dykes on Crow. Okay. So anyway, Diane says this: I definitely want your book, Jennifer. I would also like to share this information with my VA MD. So she's a veteran. Here in Springfield, Illinois, veterans go through a lot just to get the care we need in this small town. No VA hospital. It took me 3 years to finally get approved in my town for medical care and chiropractic care minutes from my home, which I've desperately needed for years. Thank you, Mr. Trump, as I was approved right after he took office. Woo, go Trump. I love Trump. Yeah. Also have been a firm believer in enzymes for years now. Love you, ladies. Barb's mom was so great to my sister and I when we were girls. Great family. Everything you're saying is truth. God bless you both. People need to know this information. Well, thank you, Diane, and thanks for posting that and for being with us today. We really appreciate it. So, Jen, so all of you, just so that you know, we'll be monitoring this thread. And remember, as I said, share this broadcast and tag us so that you can win your free copy of Jennifer's Overcoming Lyme Disease. I plan to bring Jennifer back on regularly so she can answer your questions. We would also love to hear your stories of conquering it and how you're applying the truths that are laid out in her book. So don't forget, when you get her book, there's also the ebook, Life Healing Handbook, right? That's an ebook, correct. Jen? The Life Healing Handbook is an ebook that you get to get 2 books in one, and you can order Jen's book right now, Overcome Lyme Disease, through her website on Amazon. So it's $9.80 for the paperback. It is going to go up to $20. So if you want to pay double, then just wait. If not, get it now. You can also get the Kindle version for less than $5. I'm sorry, less than $6 was really going to be my comment. So thanks again to all of you. Really appreciate it, Jen. Love you. God bless you.
Love you.
And
can I add something real quick?
Yes, please do.
All right, so this is going to help everybody because this is a pandemic. It's the #1 world pandemic, but it's not being recognized. And so anybody in the United States of America, I would love for you to contact Senator Chuck Grassley's office and ask him if he would please, please, please look into the Lyme crime and hold a Senate Judiciary hearing and call on CDC members and also an FDA to ask about how the testing is done. Because until this Lyme crime gets prosecuted, nobody's going to get help. We're going to continue to be diagnosed with all these different diseases. We're going to be a burden to our society because we're going to be putting 1 out of 2 people end up in a nursing home with Alzheimer's and dementia. Spirochetes, okay? So we need to figure this out because so many people are suffering and dying and losing their lives. Are still alive, but they are now no longer functioning mentally. So, so please, 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 I have his number right here. It is.
Oh, wait a minute. And his name. So Jen, can you just post that on the thread?
Yes, I will.
Okay. And so you want people to contact him. And maybe you can also post as well what they need to say in order for us to get really noisy about this situation.
Yeah, squeaky wheel gets the oil, and that's what we were told, that, we have to be on the phone making calls daily. And you can call your other elected officials. We're trying to get a dear colleague letter going around the Senate and also the House. But so once that comes around, ask people to sign. But really, Senator Chuck Grassley, all he has to do is actually call a hearing. He's the head of Republican Party, and he knows we talked to his staff about this crime. And so now it's just a matter of time. And the more people that call, maybe things will get, well, I'm believing in this getting prosecuted. I'm believing in for a hearing. So that's my stance.
Hillary didn't get prosecuted, but hopefully those involved with Lyme crime will.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this affects everybody. I mean, everybody, liberals and Republicans, conservatives, everybody. There's nobody exempt from this.
Yeah, well, her crimes affected everyone too, but we'll talk about that on a different day. We'll go. All right, thank you all. God bless you. Jen, if you can just start dumping things into, here, look. Oh, Hope, you are so awesome. So Hope put up grassleysenate.gov.contact. And if you need help knowing what to say to him, please get in touch with Jennifer. She will put her email address below in this. I have got to jump to my next thing. So thanks so much. God bless you and have a great day.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too.